pressure was enormous. I mean, the showrunners on it, this was they told us that this was the episode that made them even want to do the show because they knew it was going to have the effect on the audience. How can I help use the cinematography to make it a bigger surprise for the audience? So that, as I put it to the producers, I wanted, when we pulled the rug out from under the audience's feet, we wanted them to go down really hard. We kind of played it like it was late afternoon, early evening, with a little bit of cool skylight coming in, but it was much warmer, and I used more fill light on the actors so that, you know, there were a little less shadows, and everybody looked nicer, and the bride looked beautiful, and there were a few little winks and smiles shared during the wedding so that the audience would feel like, oh, I think maybe this is going to work out. I wanted it to be brighter than any Game of Thrones interior ever would have been, and normally for any other scene it would have been much more moody, but I wanted the audience to feel, I wanted to feel like a Disney movie, as close to a Disney movie as Game of Thrones would ever get. So I had to, with the producer's permission, I had the art department put extra torches all over the place and extra candelabras, so there were like 2 or 3 times as many light sources in the room as there would normally be. So the audience would be absolutely convinced that they were going to get the ending that they really, really wanted. But it was also important that it not be bright and festive looking when the bad stuff started to happen. So the director had them all pick up most of the candlesticks and most of the torches and walk out with them. So they naturally walked out of the room and took all the light with them and left very little light in there. So it goes from very bright and happy to a little, like, really moody. But we did it in a way that it wasn't obvious, so the audience wasn't going to go, hey, wait a minute, something's going on here. And it wasn't until, you know, the son closes the door with the ominous thud and the cello music starts and the camera pushes in on Cat Stark, then you know something bad's going to happen. And then it happens, and then it was always our plan for all the rest of it to happen very quickly, so that you almost didn't have time to process it.
Mother, the Lannisters send their regards.
The actors were sad because they didn't want to leave the show, and they loved working on it, and the crew and everybody else were very sad because they loved these characters and they loved these actors. We shot it more or less in order, so the very last shot we did was of Cat Stark getting her throat slit. There was dead silence in the room, except you could hear crew members crying.